Is it loud? Okay. Then you can turn down your volume. All right, this is the FSA Writing Review Part 2 for 7th and 8th grade. We're going to talk about planning and using evidence today. I am recording this, so if students aren't able to attend, they can play this back. Or if you want, those of you who are attending, if you want to play this back to give you a little more help, that's awesome. So let's kind of review. I know we were in spring break last week. Let's talk about test dates. So 7th grade, you're writing tests, and again, this is for my full-time Leave virtual students, okay? So part-time home ed, no. This is for those of you who are full-time Leave virtual students, okay? So 7th grade, April 4th, which is next Wednesday, you want to arrive at 12:30. The test starts at 1 p.m. The test is 2 hours. Okay? 7th grade, you guys are paper-based. 8th grade is the following Monday, April 9th. Also arriving at 12:30, your test starts at 1 o'clock. 8th grade is computer-based. Okay? All assessments are administered at the Lee County Public Education Center, where we go for first days of school, and you're going to enter through the north entrance. The north entrance is where we come in for first days of school. It's not where the office is. Okay? So I want you to all arrive at 12:30. Okay? And just reminders before you arrive, make sure you eat breakfast and lunch, okay, before you take the test. Get a good night's sleep the night before. Be there and be ready to focus for the test. 8th grade, it's about 2 hours. Oh, I didn't have that up there. Thanks, Faith. 2 hours. All right. All right. Any questions on the dates before we get into the test itself? We reviewed last week. Everybody give me a thumbs up if you're clear on the dates. Thumbs up if you're clear on the dates. Awesome. Good. Okay, if you have questions on that, guys, you can always text me or call me later. So let's talk about the ELA writing, which is the English Language Arts writing. When we reviewed 2 weeks ago, prior to spring break, we talked about reading the prompt and underlying keywords. Now, my 7th graders, you're going to have paper-based, so you can actually underline on yours. My 8th graders, computer-based, you can highlight. You want to read the articles and underline key points. Again, 8th graders, you can highlight. Plan your essay. You'll have 1 sheet of paper to plan on. You want to plan because it will help you organize your thoughts and write down the reasons and evidence you need to support your thesis or claim, depending on what type of essay you're given. You want to write your essay and you want to proofread. So you have that 2-hour time block, guys, and you want to make sure that you use that time to write the best essay you can possibly write. But as we've talked about last time, I'm very confident that you are well prepared to take this. Right? It's very similar to Module 2 and Module 6. You shouldn't be nervous, Faith. We're going to talk about that today, but I have confidence. Module 2 and Module 6 are what you should review. Okay. So this is what it means. No, Rosano, it's got to be computer-based. Fino, we've already started, so please stay focused. Okay, so let's focus, guys. Yes, Alicia, Module 6 and Module 2 are the modules that we have studied for this. Module 2 is your argumentative essay. Module 6 was your persuasive. Okay, so let's talk about reading with a pencil in hand. I'm going to turn off the chat for a minute because I really want you guys to focus on this. So give me just a minute. Module 2 was the first half of the year. Okay, so read with a pencil in hand or highlight on the computer. This is an example, and I'll give you the website at the end again for you guys to review. This is a source, so it says source 2. It's one of the articles that you're provided. Okay, this is a sample one. And you notice that this student read with a pen in hand. They underlined and circled and highlighted. This was a persuasive prompt, and you can see up top they wrote for. So they're writing for the prompt. Okay, and then, oops, sorry. You can see that they underlined key things. Now, those of you who are doing it, my 8th graders who are doing it on the computer, you can also highlight with the computer and refer back to it, okay? So make sure that you're not just reading through this once. I would suggest that you read through the articles given to you, the sources, at least twice, and you read with a pen in hand or highlighting as you go, because that will make it that much clearer for you. Right, so any questions on that before we get into the scoring? Any questions on how you should highlight? 1 minute, guys. All right, you can put your question in. Jack, you had a question on reading with a pencil in hand or highlighting? You can put it in the chat box. I turned it on. So you are provided with the articles. All right, Jack, well, hopefully you've reviewed that in wherever you were first semester, but you can still go back and get into Module 2 if you want to and review that. Sophia, you should highlight the key points. Okay, and again, review Module 2 and Module 6. Okay, Jack, it popped up with a question. Do you have another question? Rosanna, do you have a question? You can put it in the chat box, sweetie. The first review for the FSA was the week before spring break. The video should be on the page chart. If it's not, I'll make sure it's there. Okay, so let's now talk about the rubric. And I did turn off the chat again because I want you guys to focus. So this is your informative explanatory text-based writing rubric. Remember, I don't know what type of essay you're going to be asked to do, and you won't know until you get into the test. It can either be informative or argumentative. Okay? So this is the rubric. This is what the people, and each of these are graded by 2 different graders. Okay? They're usually retired teachers or recent college graduates, and what they do is they read all of your tests and the essays. So this is what they're given, the rubric. So this is what I want you to look at. You can score in different categories, different things. So to get the highest score for purpose, focus, and organization, this is what you need to do. A 4 is the highest, okay? You want to have strongly maintained controlling ideas, skillful use of variety of transition strategies, and we've reviewed transitions, so you know what those are. Logical progressions of ideas, that's using your planning sheet and making sure things go logically. Objective tone, appropriate style, so that's purpose. The next thing is evidence and elaboration. This is using those text-based details. You are provided with a couple of references, a couple of articles. You want to use those articles to provide evidence to support your topic, just like we did in Module 2 and Module 6. So you are very familiar with this, guys. It's sick, and we're going to go over how to do that in a minute as a review. But you guys can see what a level 4 is. And then there's also conventions in standard English, and that's out of 2. That's your spelling and grammar. Now, my 7th graders, you want to make sure that your writing is legible because you are writing out your essay, so it needs to be legible. Okay, 8th graders, you're typing, so you want to make sure that, of course, you're using proper punctuation and spelling. There's no spell check on it, so you want to make sure that you're doing your best. So you can see that there's a 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 for your purpose, organization, and focus, evidence and elaboration. And then for conventions, that's your use of standard English. There's 2. The highest you can get is a 2. And what that is, adequate use of punctuation, some minor errors but no patterns, okay? A 1 would be partial command of basic conventions, various usage. errors. Jack, I know your question, but let me go through this first, please. Okay. So again, it's really important, guys, that you take a look at this rubric. It is on the FSA website that I will share at the end. Okay. And that you look at this and know that you want to make sure that you have an organized, focused essay with evidence and you use proper punctuation. So let's see, what questions do we have? 1 minute, guys. Questions on the rubric. Go ahead. Does anybody have questions on the rubric? And again, all of this material will be available on the FSA website. That's a good question, Isabel. What happens as far as passing is they take the writing score and they combine it with the reading score. Okay? So you have the writing score and then you have your reading score. That's combined together to do your FSA ELA score. Okay? So it's kind of a combination. I'd like to see you get, 7 or above. Jack, it's on the website that I'll put out at the end and then I put out the last time, okay? Will the test be writing an exam? I don't understand, Sophia, what you're asking. Okay, so that's the rubric. I know that's a lot of information. I want you guys to look at it and I'll put the website, and then if you have questions, you can follow up with me on that. But I wanted you to see what they're grading on, okay? So you understand you can handle this. Again, I'm very confident in your ability. Okay. So let's take a look at this prompt again. And because we're getting a little off pace, I am going to turn off the chat. Okay, if you have questions, I will be more than happy to answer them at the end. You can stay and I'll go over it with you more in detail. But there are a bunch of students in here and I want to honor their time. So let's go over the 7th grade prompt again. Yes, this is the writing portion. There's 2 portions of the FSA ELA. The one that you're taking next week or the following Monday is the writing portion. And then towards the end of April, you'll take the reading portion. They're combined together for a score. So here's a sample 7th grade prompt. Again, this is not the prompt that you'll get. This is a sample. It's no secret that sometimes great discoveries come as a result of really big mistakes. But are they always worth the problems they cause? Sometimes the mistakes lead to greatness, and sometimes they lead to disaster. Are mistakes key to making discoveries? Write an essay in which you take a position on whether or not mistakes are a key part of discovery. Use the information presented in the passages to support your points. Make sure to include information from all the passages in your essay. So there's a couple of key things that I want you to look at. And if I were you, when I take the exam, I would either highlight on the computer or underline these key points. Okay, so the yellow, that's kind of your background information. That gets you thinking about the topic. The pink, write an essay in which you take a position on whether or not mistakes are a key part of discovery. Okay, so you're writing an argumentative, a persuasive essay. You want to make sure that you're taking a position, so you're going to have a claim. And your position is on whether or not mistakes are a key part of discovery. And then here's more information. This tells you what you need to use in the turquoise. Use the information presented in the passages to support your points. That's your evidence. Make sure to include information from all the passages in your essay. So in order to get full credit on this, guys, you need to use all the passages that are provided for you, and you need to include information from all of those passages. So I would say at least a quote, direct or indirect, from each of the passages or texts provided for you. And this is going to be a persuasive, argumentative essay where you're going to write a claim. All right. So what would your claim be? So in the chat box, tell me, what would your claim be for this? You're given this as a prompt. What would your claim be? You want to look at the pink part. What would your claim be? No, 8th graders can do it too. It's good practice. Because 8th graders, you might get an argumentative too. You want to look at the pink part. What's your claim? And I know you haven't read the passages, but just pretend. Oh, good faith. Making mistakes can help you learn. Mistakes are very important key parts of discovery. Good. Rosanna, I like how you use the same words. You use discovery. I think that's key. You want to make sure that you are doing exactly what they're telling you to do. That mistakes, whether or not mistakes are a key part of discovery. Okay? So what you could do is mistakes are very important key parts of discovery, or mistakes are not necessary for discovery. Kira, yes, but make sure we're not using first person, okay? Good, Alicia. Okay, so this should be all in third person unless they tell you to use first person. Okay, so 7th grade, that's what you'll need to do. I know, Kira, and it's okay. It is harder because you haven't read the passages, and I'm glad that you're trying, so that's fine. And if you're not trying, it's okay too, as long as you're listening and paying attention. Jack, as long as you use those appropriately and you spell them the right way, then yes. Sophia, yours is okay, but you want to make sure that you use the wording in the article. So now let's look a little more and let's talk about how to use text-based evidence. So this is one of the passages that went with that example. So read it to yourself as I read it aloud. How a melted bar of chocolate changed our kitchens, paragraph 17. It took more than 20 years, a lot of patience, and many mistakes before Raytheon perfected a microwave oven that people could use and could afford. In 1967, the mono-radar range made its debut. Movies on demand at home were still decades away, but at least now Americans were ready with the popcorn, all thanks to Percy Spencer and his mistaken snack. Okay? So again, our passage and what we're trying to answer, our essay, is to write an essay in which you take a position on whether or not mistakes are a key point of discovery. Now I go and read the passage, and I see that microwave popcorn, was all thanks to Percy Spencer and his mistaken snack. So I definitely want to use that in my essay. So what I would do, how can you use this passage to answer the prompt? And here's an example. To begin with, mistakes are key to making discoveries. I reworded the prompt so you can tell that it's organized. I'm directly relating it back to my claim that mistakes are key to making discoveries. I used a transition to begin with. So to begin with, mistakes are key to making discoveries. According to the article, How a Melted Bar of Chocolate Changed Our Kitchen, the author states, it took more than 20 years, a lot of patience, and many mistakes before Raytheon perfected a microwave oven that people could use and could afford. The numerous mistakes that Raytheon made are what helped with the invention of the microwave. Thus, mistakes are crucial to discoveries. So you can see that this is kind of, think of it like a puzzle, you guys. You have your transition statement. You relate it back to your claim. Mistakes are key to making discoveries. And now here's my text-based evidence. According to the article, How a Melted Bar of Chocolate Changed Our Kitchen, the author states, in yellow, I put my direct quote, and then I don't just leave the direct quote hanging there. I relate it back to my claim in the green, The numerous mistakes that Raytheon made are what helped with the invention of the microwave. Thus, mistakes are crucial to discoveries. It's like a sandwich, you guys. You start with your reasons. Mistakes are key to making discoveries. That's your bread. Okay, so on the top and on the bottom, you have your information that goes back to your claim. And then in the inside, say your peanut butter and jelly. That's your direct quotes or indirect quotes from the passage. All right, so what do we have as far as questions on that? Give me a thumbs up if you're good, or if you have a question, you can put a question in. So thumbs up if you're good, or if you have a question, go ahead. And this should look very, very familiar to you guys because this is what we have done in Module 2 and Module 6. Especially those who've been with me for a few years, this is what we've done. This is how we write our essays. So again, you guys, you know how to do this. I'm very confident that you'll do well. All right, so here's some more examples with sources. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. So you can do, for example, source 2 states, but it wasn't only Nazi plunder they had to guard against. That's a direct quote. Or you can do monument men not only helped rescue art, they also rushed in to make repairs on a cultural site. Source 2, that's an indirect. If you're doing direct or indirect, you still need to cite where you're getting it from, where it's plagiarism. Okay? And we've gone over this, so hopefully this is very repetitive and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe Mrs. Bailey is talking about this again because I'm an expert at this. So here are some sentence starters. According to, in the article, insert title of article, it states, as stated in source 2, insert direct quote. All right, so this is what you guys should put. These are kind of sentence starters. If you're stuck and overwhelmed, you can always use these and they will help you. Remember though, it's like a sandwich. So you have your transition, you have your claim, you have your sources and your citations, and then you have how it goes back to your claim. Frankie, stay focused. I know, I always get you guys around lunchtime, so I'm always really to get back to food. I'm sorry. Questions on how to deal with sources. Okay. Big smiley face if you feel confident and awesome about sources. If you don't, you can hang out and I'll be more than happy to help you. I will put this PDF on the pace chart too. Okay, so now this is the review and practice. Of course, it won't come from there, so give me a minute and I'll find it. So I want you to go to this website and review and practice. Okay, if you write something and you want me to look at it, just email it to me and then send me a text to remind me. So there's the website, fsaassessments.org, and you'll go to the student section, the practice test. Okay. Questions. There's the one. All right. If you are good to go and you have lots of stuff going on, you may leave. Before you leave, make sure that we've started Module 5 both in 7th and 8th grade this week. So you should be working on your novel or short story. Yes, you can do it right now, Fino. If you want to go right now and do some practice, that's fine. But if you are good to go and you don't have any more questions for me and you're clear on the pace chart, have a fantastic